FinTech Bay. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Susie Alzira, and I'm the Chief COO of Bahrain FinTech Bay. Unfortunately, Better, he really wanted to make it, but he's not well. So he sends his regards, and and hopefully he'll be back in office in a couple of days. Thank you so much for coming to this event. It's actually the first event in a while that we've had that many people in the room. So it's great to see everyone here, some of our partners and some new people as well. We're super thrilled to host this event with Codebase Technologies. They're one of our fintech partners, and it's a very important relationship that we have with them, to build this kind of awareness, to create, these kinds of events and push forward, what they're doing in the space in the Middle East and in Bahrain in particular. So I'm not going to spend too long to bore you. I'm going to hand you to Ankit. Is that? Please go ahead. Enjoy.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Ankit Saraf. I'm allowed clear? Audible? Okay. My name is Ankit Saraf. I'm a senior manager in Kuwait Finance House Bank in Bahrain. And I look over the MIS reporting, regulatory reporting section of the bank. I would like to thank Codebase and FinTech Bay to allow me having this session, a short session here in front of you. And I'm asked to talk about the challenges in the regulatory space the banks are facing today and the importance of digitization in that space. But before we go into the challenges faced by the banks today, I would like to take a step back in time to see how we landed up in the situation in first place. So if we go a couple of decades ago, the banking was doing fine, the reports were going fine, there was no as many reporting requirements before. Let's say Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, it came into existence as Basel I late in 90s, late in 80s. It all happened because some systems started failing, which started triggering the requirement that, the regulator needs to now review or supervise the banking more closely. And that led to Basel II, then Basel III, and then after every crash, we had a system failure. Like last time we had in 2008, the financial crisis. Basel III came in with the more rigorous requirements, and lately we have requirements of LCR and SFR, which poses the way how the banks would operate in the environment. But not only on this supervision side, even from reporting side, the regulators have increased the number of reporting requirements on the banks tremendously. Basically, they want to know if everything is conducted in accordance with the regulation at all the times. So in order to comply with these reports, the businesses, the banks have always started putting in more processes in place, more people in place to ensure that these reports can be delivered to the bank. Now, as and when the time has passed by, the environment has changed. The customer behavior has changed. Before, a customer used to write a check. Now he doesn't write a check. The transaction happens online. So the customer behavior has changed. Even the account opening, he doesn't need to come to a branch to open an account anymore. So the volume has increased because of the technology has come into place. And with this changes, the way the regulators have started operating has also increased. And so the business model also has changed for the bank. Now, if everything is changing around us, we can confidently say that change is the only constant factor in this world. While we accept that this is going to be changing all the time, we also need to adapt to this change. This adaptation, we cannot remain static as the way we used to operate a few years ago. We need to start adapting, and how do we encourage and embrace this change needs to be brought into our processes. How do we do that? What change can be done in the workplace? We can have what used to be an Excel, say 20 years ago, it used to be called as an automation. Now, if you work in Excel, it's felt like, don't do manual things. Can we have some automation? So what was felt like an automation a few years ago is felt like a manual now. Why? because the environment has changed, the business processes has changed. Come to the regulatory space. If you prepare the reports using Excel, what happens is, why we have to prepare these reports using Excel is because the systems have multiplied in the banks or organizations. How that has happened, every business unit is having their own kind of system in silo. And they are entering their information in their own system, in their own individual silos. Now, these systems are not integrated on the same platform to talk to each other. So what it means is every business unit will give their report in a common platform, just Excel. So it's basically a combination of all the systems on a common platform. And that's why Excel becomes a base data collector from all the systems, so that from there onwards, a report can be prepared to be submitted to the regulator. This involves huge amount of time and processing. Imagine if your number of transactions a year ago was 10,000 rows in Excel, and if you want to expand your business, you want to grow your business, and number of transaction increases to 20,000, the pressure is on the same software you're trying to rely on to process the same kind of a report, which will be more time consuming. And this cannot last forever. It has to change. What needs to be changed? It needs to be understood that where this is originating from. If it is originating from a system which is capable of collaborating with a common system instead of Excel, then the entire pain point of getting the data in Excel in the first place is resolved. Once that has been addressed, you have a central repository system where the data is coming, then a programming can be done, and there the digitization can help in reporting. Digitization has certainly proved to be very fast, not complacent, and in pace of time, it can deliver reports in few minutes. What used to take hours or few days to prepare now happens in few minutes. And by experience, this is the right move of the time that we adapt to this technology and bring in the change in the way we perform our business. Because if we look into Basel IV, which is just around the corner, even the Basel Committee has acknowledged that in Basel IV, the technology angle of reporting or monitoring requirement will increase, not only for banks, but even for the day-to-day operation of treasury departments and things like that. So technology will become a part of the entire banking industry and for the regulators which work hand in hand. If we look into how much digitization or technology has changed around us, if you just log into HSBC website of London, just stay there on the home page, every product which is displayed on the website has at least 3 to 4 technology company which provides that kind of service on its own. So if you add it up together, there will be like about 100 plus technology companies which are at any point in time competing with these products and services provided by HSBC. If there's so much of competition, the question is then to compete or to collaborate with them. Well, the answer cannot be one in black and white, but it certainly says that it has to go hand in hand to move together in the next phase of the future. Because in future, what will happen is if we don't change, we'll certainly get changed. That's pretty much all from my side. Do you have any questions?
So, Ankit, in terms of banks looking at digitizing their efforts of bringing data, especially what kind of challenges do people like your department face today when collating different sources? Because of course, banks would have multiple kind of systems, different kind of data protocols. What kind of challenges do they typically face in a day-to-day environment of working?
Okay, that's a very good question. Thanks, Rahil. The smartness of the data. Smart is in terms of the accuracy of the data, the timeliness of the data, the amount of data, and the reputation at which it gets changed needs to be becomes a challenge for our department at the moment, because many times we start processing the data we receive originally, and it is subject to changes for the last minute. Then accuracy is equally important. If any data is missing in the data captured by the system from which the data has been provided. And therefore, the reconciliation becomes an essential part to ensure that whatever data we are going to process for reporting is reconciled and ensure the completeness of the data is there. So a lot of time is spent in the data governance, I would say, the quality of the data, and ensuring that it is in terms of pass through the all the checks and of the source of the data.
So what advice would you give to your peers in the industry, that what are some of the best practices ensuring that the data governed? Because at the end, you're reporting to central bank. You cannot just keep changing data when you report. So what advice would you want to give to your peers in the industry, not just in Bahrain, but in the MENA region?
Yeah.
Because the industry works very similarly over here. So what advice would you want to give to them on how to manage this kind of a data governed process, or what is the best practice which you've seen when you implemented that governed data framework?
I would like to say that it's a continuous process. The industry needs to parallelly become aware of the situation we are all in, and then accept that a parallel process is required to be run together while we are all doing the work which we do, so that this can be shifted from the way we do now and the way we will be doing in future. So given the type of future we are getting into, say the cryptocurrency, the blockchain environment, where Bahrain has already registered for the blockchain technology, and we embrace this change, it's not very long from now that banks will be having to deal with the regulated environment of digital currency and things like that. That's gonna come into as a completely new aspect in the way we operate as of now. Therefore, it is equally important that the industry starts to shift the way we manage the data processing as of now, and not completely just depend on the way we are currently processing it. If we keep doing what we are doing, what we are not doing is we are ignoring the future we are entering into, and we don't have a choice. We will be into that situation very time soon. And therefore, it's highly recommended that we embrace this change, bring into digitization as a acceptance that we have to move on to this technology, and then move together from there. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much for attending, for your valuable time for this event done by Code-Based Technologies and Regtech by Bahrain. We're very glad having you here today in the morning, especially before this time of Ramadan. It's quite tight. So this is Ahmed Adel. I'm the Regional Sales Manager for Code-Based Technologies, responsible for the Gulf, and one of them is Bahrain, definitely. So let's have just a few minutes about Codebase itself. Codebase is the upcoming technology global open API company. We established 2017. Our superpower, I believe, that we are enable and building banks, digital banks. So throughout this, we are providing the financial institutions with what is really needed in this banking sector, in this financial institution. We are helping to make the banks make a value propositions, not only filling gaps. So you are making a value propositions while filling gaps. So we have our Digibanc bank in a box product, which is, we call it, it's a bank in a box because you can pick and choose from this bank in a box products to make a value proposition for your institution. One of the advantages we have, actually, the scalability we have. We have a multiple scalability approach that you can grow with us as much as you want. You see, actually, there is no ceiling for that. One of the main things as well, we are running through a very modular approach. So definitely, we can provide you the full stack as we did with some other banks, but as well, we can provide you the approach that you really want to fill the gaps and the value proposition. So we are opening from distributors around the world. We're having offices around the world in key cities. We have in Dubai, Singapore, in Europe, in the UK. We have in Africa a big one, and we are very proud that we have a relatively big one in Bahrain as well. A lot of Bahrainis young people are working with us, so it's a great opportunity to learn from people in Bahrain and to having a bigger impact on the Bahraini country itself. So we have more than 500 open API, so we can just plug and play most of our products. Yes, we can do the full-fledged, but we're still not stuck in you by any means. So for example, Code-Based Technologies will never tell you, you have to go to this cloud. You have to go, for example, to AWS, if you like Oracle, for example. Moreover, actually, Codebase as well doesn't tell you to go cloud only. So if you are happy with your on-prem solution deployment, we can still do that for you. So this is our flexibility. We always promise our customers to do it. This is from our latest projects. I would like to just speak a very, this is the KFH automated platform, and this is actually what is related to our event today. We have initiated something called the Roshan proposition with Roshan initiative with the Dubai Islamic Bank, which is allow all Pakistani people to onboard themselves all over the world to the bank. And the good thing about that the aggressive timeline, we have launched this project. We have launched this project in 22 days. So since the sign off, after 22 days, we were up and running. We have as well Zen, it's the first digital GCC bank. It's owned by the royal family in Abu Dhabi, and it's a full stack project. We have Jazeel, of course, everybody knows about Jazeel in Bahrain. And we have our latest one, Blink Bank, which is a fully digital bank. in Jordan and Iraq. And one more thing to note here, that Blink have been launched in less than 4 months. So it's a fully digital bank throughout the channels, throughout even the ATM integration in less than 4 months. And we have Capital Bank as well. It's the owner of the Blink Bank. So that's a few moments about Codebase. So let's jump to the Regtech overview. As Mr. Ankit said, actually, he touched many points. I was going to touch it, so I will shorten my time anyway. So the Regtech, actually, what does it mean by the Regtech? Because it's somehow a confusing definition. So I personally prefer this Regtech from the London School of Economics, as they said that a subset of fintech that focuses on technologies that may facilitate the delivery of regulatory requirements more efficiently and effectively than existing capabilities. So it's anything that are making the regulatory through the technology more effective and more efficient. But actually what happened, why actually this Regtech definition had a boom in the last years? There is some factors, as we can see here. Of course, number one was the global financial crisis, because Mr. Ankit said that in the past, banking was working very well. Yes, it seems like this, but it was not like that actually, because thanks to the Federal Bank of USA, there was no regulatory at all from how much you can lend and how much physically money you have in your vaults, and for how many banks are reporting to you on a gradually basis. So after this crisis, the world actually have found themselves that, oh my God, we cannot bear with another unexpected crisis again. So we have to have more control on the market. We have to oversee the market, how it goes. We have to check about the liquidity of the banks, about the compliances, how they are working inside. With this global financial crisis, two technological things happen constantly. Number one is the evolution of data science and the evolution of the cloud infrastructure. The evolution of data science actually happened when the social media start to be booming. So the Twitter and the Facebook and all this stuff, they promised a lot of data, a very big data, so we can analyze it. So it happened in parallel that there was an evolution of data science around it. And the evolution of cloud infrastructure, because they were promised a very big data, so they want to be more flexible over the cloud, to have not having a servers. So this happens in the constant of the crisis. However, there was another two factors: the demand for cost effectiveness and the demand for the operational accuracy and efficiency. With all these new requirements for regulatory, definitely it requires more spending. So, and we are in a crisis, so it's a dilemma actually. So how we can do that? Always people think, the first thing they think about technology, how technology can help us to have more effective and efficient reporting, and how we can improve our processes through the technology. So this is 5 factors, as we can see, that actually there are main factors that happen this word to be more, this Regtech to be more popular and more definable. Moreover, it's something I believe there's. So one more thing, it's just a funny story, something like that. Actually, people are confusing. I have listened, I have heard myself. People are confusing about the fintech and the Regtech. Actually, they always say, what is the difference between them? And I'm telling them, guys, oh my God, this is totally different stuff. And they just look like the words, but it's totally different. However, so it's fixed now. So we have these challenges within this industry about the regulatory compliance. We have internal challenges, regulatory pressures, and the Regtech solutions. of course, we can list all this and we can speak about it a lot of time. However, we would like to just group them by, because I believe that it's more that, like Ankit said, it's about awareness actually. Awareness of the leadership, awareness of the vision of the board, how the people buy in the idea of compliance, especially human actually always resist change. So in this case, it's definitely when somebody is asking you for more data and to make you more exposed, definitely there will be a line of defenses. So that's one aspect. Another aspect of that about the talent and staffing, because this demand and regulation doesn't have the same amount of talent, because actually the Regtech awareness is not there. So we need to, in my opinion, we need to have more awareness for that. We need to have more technical stuff to be aware of the Regtech and how they are using technology to comply with the new regulatories. For the regulatory pressure, definitely after the crisis, government put the central banks and the regulatory institutes under pressure. And what this pressure will happen, definitely it will be transferred to the firms and to the institutions. So the problem here is that the regulators heighten the standards and expectations, and for sure they are increase the actions, fines and penalties. So I hear the crazy numbers here about the fines and penalties for example, something called for benefit day. If you had a problem with the transaction, even it's 1 dinar, it can cost you up to 20,000 dinars, something like this. So as well, new regulatory requirements, multiple jurisdiction and conflicting laws and regulations, because we have a lot of regulatory institutions. We are not speaking about Bahrain itself, but we are speaking about the whole countries itself after this crisis. So it makes a confusion for what can be done inside the firm, inside the regulators. So actually, we are helping the banks, we are helping the central bank to achieve a framework of compliance, so it can have a single access to a regulatory framework to digitalize this, so it can be more in parallel with the new regulatory requirements. So Regtech solutions, what it can do, it can have definitely financial crime mitigation. It can have the KYC governance, and Bahrain has a great base in that. And mainly we are speaking here about the regulatory data and information management and the regulatory reporting. So that's what Regtech can actually help in that space. So let's see from the world very good examples. I believe UK is very good in this space about open banking and the regulatories and the financial stuff. So our first example in the UK, the FCA, the Financial Conduct Authority, and the Bank of England. And by the way, Financial Conduct Authority is a non-government institution. It's work for the government, but it's non-government. So their funding is not coming from government, so they are fully independent. And they are looking for the market to help to protect customers and to help the people to have a better insight for the financial market. They done with Bank of England, the central bank of the UK, they done one project called, it was running, I believe, November 2016. It's called Regtech. Okay. This project was how to consolidate framework between the central bank and FCA about what the data sets we are really want from the banks. So they collaborate together to have a data sets to be that this to become a data-driven institutions. So the FCA and Bank of England cooperate together to have a single set of data and how to access this data from the banks. So And actually, we wish that Central Bank of Bahrain can do that with this framework to us. And definitely thanks for coming for the Central Bank here. So we have another thing, it's called MAS. It's the Monetary Authority of Singapore. The Monetary Authority of Singapore, actually they are making awards every year for the FinTech and for the Regtech itself, for the innovative solutions. And through this awards, they grant the firms up to 250K for every single firm to make them buy a solution for these regulators. Because actually this is not only to benefit the firms, the small firms, it's a benefit the regulators, the small firms, and the economy itself. So this is one of the very good collaboration between the three stacks in Singapore. So, and let's go to Australia. Australia have a great as well, example for collaborating between the three stacks in that. So we have here the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ESEC, and Australian Prudential Regulatory Authority. Okay, these people actually are making they have funds to make awareness sessions, to make workshops, and to fund the firms for more regulatory solution. But what is specific having in this ISEC always having like every year a single problem in regulations. Okay, a single problem in compliance, and through this single problem, I will direct all the fund to solve this problem. So I'm funding the firms and I'm funding the Regtechs as well to solve me the problem, which will help that in my economy. In this EAPRA, they doing something very similar to UK. They are actually running with the Central Bank of Australia through a subset of data and access data to have a single framework for all the banks to be a single access from the central bank and the banks and the regulators. So what is the benefit of the Regtech? The benefit of the Regtech, definitely it's reducing the risk, because yes, banks have many risk methodologies, and they are trying the best to reducing the risk. So for example, for reducing the risk, because I have a more data insight, because I'm reducing the human interaction. So I'm reducing the risk from a multiple levels, even from day-to-day level and even for a long-term level. And definitely it will be a cost saving, because actually you don't need to hire all these people, and that's what we said, that the talent, actually this industry have a lack of talent for that. And definitely is enhancing efficiency and effectiveness, because as we said, that you are improving your processes, your systems, and the whole process itself. The insight-driven decision making, and this is actually what is really important, because most of the people, most of the banks, most of the firms, they feel that when they are working in that way, they are working for the central bank actually. So I'm not getting benefit to myself. So that's what we are trying to do. Actually, yes, you are serving the central bank, and you are fully regulated, okay, and you are fully compliant with the regulations. However, you still have this data, you still have these reports for your insights, for a better decision making, and that's actually what we can call a value proposition in that. The focal point, the reporting solution. So the reporting solution, we are automating this streamline of compliance. We are identifying the critical tools. We are evaluating the existing and operation to pinpoint and transform processes. And we are upscaling the argument resource pool for more accurate, timely, and reporting. So actually, this is what can reg reporting solution can do for you. We will be more detailed later with that. This report automation. So the report automation, as we said, it increased efficiency, improved the quality, but actually there is a problem here, or there is a challenge. I don't like to call it a problem, it's a challenge, because it usually takes up to 1 to 2 years for strategic automation majority, because it's a big data sets, a lot of multiple sets of reports, a lot of old reports need to be updated. So this is actually what we are trying to help in that. We don't stay for 1 2 years. However, this is a common challenge we have seen. So to solve this, we strongly recommend to begin to implement a report automation tool. So this tool can be a simple report submission as a very direct benefit for that, for data mapping, for support end-to-end reporting cycle, for detailed workflow management and capabilities. What other things is the visual analytics? Because you have all these data and you have all what we can call it a golden database. So because you have this data and you have this reporting tool of the ad hoc reports, you can still always link it to a visual analytics for dashboards. For dashboards is, for example, for the CFOs, for the CEOs, for the deputy CEOs, for the C-level people, that they can see these dashboards one shot. And actually, these dashboards can give you more insights and a better decision making and a better presumption of what is happening in the market. And actually, this is as well for the central bank, because central bank can see by their analysis and by their dashboards how the market is going and what is the trends happening. Is there any red flag can be seen, or things are going well, or how to improve it? So we are very pleased to have CAFH here. So we would like to have a better CAFH case study for that, because we have applied our reg reporting for the CAFH. And I believe that this was the challenges. It's more than 100 reporting annually. Definitely risk of a human error because things are doing manually. Time required to compile reports because it's done on the Excel sheets, and the low data visibility. When we apply this Digibanc Regtech, we'll speak about later, and you will see demo later. This is what happened actually. We improved operating efficiency by 100%. We reduced the task cost by 90%, and we are improving task accuracy by 80%. So, and this is documented numbers, by the way. So let's talk more about the reporting itself, the product itself. So the product itself, it's a product that can automate the whole cycle of reg reporting. So we are doing something, financial data collection and aggregation from multiple resources. We will see the architecture later, the calculation and processing and generation of the regulatory reports. In that, it's a state of art. What we can see that it's a very user-friendly. We will see some screenshots about that, and you will see that by yourself in the demo. So it's fully customized, query-based. So you can just fully customize based on the country, based on new regulations, or based on your in your firm appetite, actually. And it supports ETL processes and connecting to any legacy core banking. And we have done that with CAFH because we have connected to their old core banking without touching their core banking. We're just integrating it. We're just scraping data. And definitely the whole of the thing is regulatory compliant. So this is our solution functionality. The templates, SQL queries, auto scheduled and reports. So data connectivity. This is the architecture of that. Multiple resources. Reporting engine. We are grabbing that. We are doing our job here, and we are doing with this the local regulator. And definitely, you can still have that in your firm. This is one of our GUIs. It's very easy, very nice. As you can see, full of colors. And we have another one here. It's like just like a Windows. So any questions for me?
Ahmad, thank you for the presentation first. I just wanted to ask, do you have any AI when you are generating the report? Is that looking at what the data has been generated and then process it or give you a heads up? Because sometimes what we actually notice, the sources of the data, when you actually take reading from the sources, I'm talking about real time experience, okay? The resources sometimes when you do testing, it takes, it wasn't like 100% correct.
Okay.
So the thing is, when you do testing, okay, and the first test or iteration of testing, you find that, yes, we have this reports matching what we were generating in the previous, but then you do the iteration for a next or next period or next quarter or whatever.
Okay.
Then the report, you will face that, yeah, because some of the things were missing or so the report is, so there should be a mechanism in a way to ensure that when the report is generated, okay, it will be like so accurate and give you a proper or let's say 100% bulletproof that this data that is being generated is correct. So this is the thing. I'm just wondering if you is there in your pipeline there's any AI, any intelligence in that, so you can actually define what is or set let's say more data scientist analysis when you look at the data. Yeah, these reports. You have to look here. You have to see if this is there might be some problem in these figures, for instance, because these are.
I got your idea.
Yeah. It's one of the things that I love to have, because nobody knows at the end if we automating the report. Like, okay, well, we have, now all the reports are automated and it's generated. Yeah, usually before there was a human a brain in that. He looks, he verifies, he compares, he makes sure that everything. But when you automate the report, and because of some human errors, okay, and you just think that the report was correct, I mean, then when it goes to the central bank, you might find that there's something is not realistic or not correct.
Yeah, actually, that's a very valid question, Andy. Thank you very much for that. But actually, we are eliminating the risk human factor, because there is no human factor in that. It's only automated. So, but about embedding the AI or even the blockchain technology later on, I believe, yes, it will be a pipeline. It's coming anyway. But I think Raheel as well want to answer this question. Raheel.
So, see, when we talk about practical implementation, and Kandil mentioned very rightfully that before, as departments were there, they used to coordinate and they used to validate that, okay, does this number of figures is correct or not? How do we validate that what the generation has been done? Is it being matched with the overall numbers? So overall, right now, if you look at from a foundational perspective, what we've done together, we are able to identify those points. So within our implementation, we're actually able to identify the car report numbers. Is it the right range or is it not the right range? And as a next step in the evolution of the product and in the evolution of providing that data, now we have the data. We have all the data sets ready available. We have the data models in place. We have the logic in place. So gradual evolution with any of our clients would be to take a step further and to automate the validation part as well.
Yeah.
So that is something as the product will evolve and as services evolve and as we get mature with different clients from different institutions, we would be able to identify certain patterns.
Yeah.
So when you work with, say, 4 banks in the region, you will be able to pick up those patterns and then share those insights with each other that this is the pattern which we are looking at.
Yeah.
And how does each of the implementation correspond to that pattern? Because even from a central bank perspective, it's very important to be able, and what central bank already does, it collates all information and being able to identify a certain bank, tier one bank has certain ranges. If it breaches that range, they're able to identify.
Yeah, this is the.
So what our job should be, or what the product role should be, to evolve the product, which basically helps institutions take action before even central bank comes back to them, saying, no, you guys have breached a certain pattern or certain the validation in terms of the advocacy, be it your risk, be it your the credit risk itself, or any number for that matter. So yes, that is a true evolution of any mature product. But in order to do that, there has to be an industry-wide adoption of digitization. Unfortunately, banks today still in the region are, as you rightly said, Ankit, they're all manual. So people are dependent on the manual efforts and manual collection of data. Now, how that data comes through, people do not know. And if someone leaves from their organization, it is circle back to the same point where you're not able to get the source of information, why that decision was taken, what was the rationale of doing manual adjustment, for example. So that we try to solve the foundation aspect of the regulatory challenges with an MIS or a reporting department would do. So yes, so that's basically as part of the evolution, as part of the product roadmap, we intend to bring our insights when we start working with multiple institutions in the region.
So, and actually this will, thank you, Raheel, for this. And actually what will help us, that's what we want to achieve. We want to achieve this ecosystem for the banks to have this, to have this framework of compliance, of adequacy, of the risks, of the liquidity, of everything. We can put our insights as well inside in that to have a better decision making.
Yeah.
So we are trying to make you a better protection, a better decision making based on the patterns that we're already seeing in the banks itself. However, this needs some time. This needs more than one bank to implement that, and the more they grow, it will be much better.
Yeah.
So, any other questions?
Yes. Sorry, good morning. This is Mariam Johari from GFH Compliance. I just want to ask, or I want to ask for more details about the solution that you provide to CareFetch. So I would like to know more about the automation of the reporting and what type of reports can your solution generate?
So basically, the Regtech solution allows any financial institution, be it a bank, be it a finance house, or even a fintech now, because now they're getting regulated by the central bank, to produce any regulatory required reports. So right now we have automated the entire stack of regulatory BRs. So all your car reports, your statistical returns, the annualized returns, your monthly, your quarterlies. So all of those has been automated on our platform. And they're all, and you'll see a demo as well right after this, where you see the actual central bank templates being exposed. So now it's no more the manual effort of actually sitting down and collating data and then putting into the Excel. It's all done completely automated from the source to the submission part. Of course, there are manual adjustments, which happens in all the banks, but overall, you're able to automate the entire life cycle of regulatory required reports. In addition to that, our platform also, because as Ahmed mentioned, we work on a governed data model. What that means is you can then utilize that data for any other reporting. It's just not the regulatory reporting, because we capture the asset side, the liability side, the income, the expenses, the risk, everything we capture to produce the regulatory reports. Previously, what used to happen, we used to work in a very siloed format. Okay, this is a report for statistic returns. A department is working on it, they submit it, no other department or no business units would even find out there's a statistical return going out to regulator. Now, what information you can pick up from that statistical return can help you make decisions at a board level, right? At a business head level. For example, your large exposures. So how can you utilize that data to take up decisions at a C level, a CEO can decide, okay, we have a risk coming up with large exposures on a particular client. How do we mitigate it? The head of risk and compliance can look at that. So previously we were working in a silo option. With this, you get all that information centralized in one place from multiple sources, be it your core banking, be it your branches, be it your channels. Every information is fed into one single source, which you use for regulatory reporting. But we have seen, I think, a much bigger utilization for internal stakeholder reporting as well and internal decision making. Imagine your NOPs coming out after what? It used to come, it takes typically a bank to identify post 2 weeks at least minimum to identify your liquidity positions. And it's on a historical basis. Imagine if you can get your liquidity positions and your credit positions every morning 8 o'clock without you doing or without you touching a button. It improves the entire life cycle of data reporting for regulators and for internal stakeholders. So the platform allows you to not just automate the regulatory reports, but also the ad hoc or your stakeholder or your business management reports as well.
So it covers like the daily, let's say LCR, NSFR, card calculation.
Yes, it's every day without a press of a button. Actually, you will get actually an email saying your daily car has been generated, and this is your daily car.
I'm getting it every morning.
Yeah. So yes, so and see, when we initiated this this whole overall process, what we analyzed was, and this is a challenge for the industry overall. Why did we even get into this solving this problem? Because as Ankit mentioned, your ways of doing business is changing, right? How you're acquiring customers, you're going digital, everything. But it boils down that the pressure comes to the operations and the MIS department, because people are taking decisions to buy systems every day. So banks are buying systems, new systems every day. And every system has its own data, has its own formats, has its own information, what is being captured, and how to translate that. So that basically prompted us to create a single platform where from start to end, we're able to analyze, we're able to capture, no matter what legacy systems you may have. Because a lot of times banks would say, oh, I have a legacy core, I have some legacy systems, the data is mismatched, I don't have full data. And that's what the problem we're trying to solve. We connect with any legacy system on over here available, and we help you take all that information into a single governed state where you are able to then report to the central bank or to your stakeholders.
And actually, we will see a demo itself. So the demo is coming very shortly. So any other questions?
Yes, we have questions from our
Online team?
online.
Okay, please.
First question is, for how many countries central banks' regulatory requirements you have readily available templates and data sets as plug and play?
So right now we have automated the UAE reports, and we have automated Bahrain reports. Currently, we are working on Jordan, Iraq, and Pakistan.
Can we have another?
And actually, Sarah, I would like to add something. Excuse me, Raheel. Actually, this somehow takes time, okay, to automate these reports. However, central banks all over the world, actually, they have like the same regulatory requirements at the end. Maybe the differences will be very few. So actually, since the whole job done, this set is done, so it can be translated to any country later on, even to Europe, even to Brazil. Actually, it's the central bank's regulators are always the same, with many different names, with different priorities. That's it. With different, like this one I wanted annually, this one I wanted half annually. That's it.
Perfection. So there's a second part to the question. This is from Govind Rajan. He asks, for new country central banks, say Malaysia, what is the time frame required to customize your product to meet local regulatory requirements?
As Ahmed mentioned, the base data remains same. So every regulator asks you the certain information for capital, for risk, for credit and everything. So the data models are still ready and they're very much reusable because we did the same thing when we went from UAE to Bahrain. So we had a full data model from UAE. We ported down to Bahrain. So the work basically comes in what kind of templates you are reporting into. So that's the primary area. In my experience, working with these two regions and other regions right now, it takes somewhere between 3 to 4 months to port into new templates, but the data model remains similar across these regulators.
Thank you, Raheel. Just one more question from Govind. What is the business model for your product? SaaS, perpetual license, term lease?
We can refer back to him. It's available on all the licensing models. Then the sales team can basically get in touch with them for any commercial discussions.
Thank you so much. You want the demo?
I need a question because I'm to leave. Last question. Do you have in your, I don't know, future plans or pipeline, do you have any plans of having a form builder for the bank user to try to create the report, utilize it instead of every time? You said it's a good one that it's not only regulatory, you might need to prepare your report because you need to use the data. So is there any plan of having this a tool that we can, easy tool that you drag and drop and select from certain sources and try to build your form or report as you wish? Is there any?
So we have recently done 2 integrations with our platform. What this allows you to do is to create your own reports, ad hoc reports, not the regulatory side, but the ad hoc management reporting by connecting into any of these tools like the BI tools we talk about. So ClickSense, Tableau, Power BI. One of the POC we did for Power BI as well was actually taken from the same data source. So our platform is fully compliant with that BI process. So you can pick up the data what we create for you and easily and readily push it into any BI tool. So that's number one. Number two, what we've also done is within our own platform, you're able to actually define certain queries on a report level, which is the regulatory report level. So any changes which comes to us from a query perspective, we're able to modify and we have that functionality available. But beyond that, what we have undertaken is to connect to a financial reporting system, because everything is financial data. Today, we're talking about regulatory and business insights, but a lot of information will come in when you talk about connecting into a financial reporting system. So we've recently done a partnership with a UK-based entity where we are able to transpose all of that data into a branch level information, a loan level information, a deposit level information. You have financial ratios as well. So we have done that kind of a transposition. So yes, this allows you to create your own ratios, your own graph, your own charts, plus using BI tools, you can transpose that data into your own reports and produce that.
Thank you.
But by the way, in our product, the data model is not locked. So the data model is open for the banks. So you have full access to all that data which we collect for you, where you can utilize for any purposes. We do not stop you. And that's where we create value for you.
Yeah, it's your database at the end, so you can,
Yeah.
and even we can help integrating with that new system. If you are happy with the system to have this drag and drop ad hoc reporting.
Yeah.
However, I believe that always because we can do this query, because we can create this query, so I don't think that it will be needed as much as currently.
Queries are built in the IT. Business basically doesn't know how to build an
So
SQL.
Power BI now is an out-of-the-box integration
Yeah.
with our SQL Server platform.
Thank you.
So
Any other questions before we go on to the demo?
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Alina can also speak and be able to.
Rina, can you hear us?
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Alina.
Good morning, glad to hear you. I'm Alina Danilina. I'm project manager on Regtech reporting for a particular KFH project. And I would like to go through the demo and show you our product. Let me share my screen. Our product will start with an interface when the business user will log in and see the reports. As you can see, we can restrict permission and provide for each and particular business user their own set of the reports, which can be available. Once the user login, there are a set of the reports already available. We have prepared the templates for each and every report for the CPB purpose. And for every report, as you can see, it's a user-friendly interface and a few options. Let's have a look at an example for the daily car report. For this report have sub-reports inside it, so the user can drill down to this report and see all the pages inside this report as a particular sub-report. It's market risk, operational risk, urea, self-finance, and so on. User can work with all of the sub-reports at one place or for each and every particular sub-report. What we need is just to choose pre-scheduled date. For the daily for each and every report, there is a scheduler which will generate a report on a daily basis, monthly or quarterly basis, as the user would like. And all these reports will be already available in the morning or any time when the user needs to have a look at them. Once the user can choose the business date for a particular report, he can also see that when this report was generated automatically and look at the values. So there are two options to use the reports on the screen directly from the system, and as well, each and every report can be downloaded as an Excel file. As for the daily car report, we can show the option how to download the full report. As you can see, it's just a few seconds and it's working very fast, and report is available. So the daily car report generated by the system. Inside this report, data manipulated from the database, and as well data linked to the particular page in the report, just as you can see on your screen. So pages inside the report interlink to each other, and the user can check the values, validate them, confirm them, and share it with CPB. All the data will be already calculated on the daily basis by our ETL tool, by our process. As well, our product provides functionality how to upload data manually in case of any manual things which need to be used. As have been mentioned before, the platform can use data from a different core system from the bank, as well as the database or data mart if there are anything in the bank as well. Plus, it's possible to download report or download input data directly from the portal. It is quick and easy way to handle with it, to choose database, to choose a particular table where to save the data, upload the file, and upload Excel. For all the CBB reports, templates have been already designed and pre-configured. So all of them already prepared for a business purpose. So we can see as well for the reserve requirement report. You can have a look at any other date. For an example, end of June. As you can see, it's important to highlight that as well as with the auto process, which will take place, for an example, on the next day once the business day ended, we are able to provide manual calculation. In case any other manual adjustment has been done or necessary to be done, then we can run the process manually and it will generate the report based on the up-to-date data. Let's see the last available version of the report. As well, all the values and data available on the portal and can be downloaded. Just in a few seconds. So the report is available for further purpose. I would like to show you as well one more option. We can generate internal reports, and as well, we can provide the user to have data directly from the database for any other table and to drill down inside this data as well. Let me show you as an example. It is one more download functionality. When the user can choose a particular table which he would like to drill down to have a look at it. Any date can be used. And download the report. Downloaded data in the Excel file can be used as well for any further analysis. As an example, for the car report, for any section in the car report, a user can have a look at it on the line-by-line level, on the account level, what was the values inside it, which particular accounts or any further analysis can be done as well. So all the reports can be generated on a daily basis or when it's necessary to be generated without no manual involvement from the business users. Everyday data will be available for a business purpose. It can be scheduled on a daily basis, quarterly, annually, and so on and so forth. One more option to be highlighted as all the data will be available at one place at the database. The user can also, this data will be also a golden source, and the user can also use it in any other purpose and analysis, in risk analysis, for the business purpose, and so on and so forth. As you can see for the statistical returns, one more example, all the pages inside the report are already prepared. And can be used for a further analysis. Let's download the report. Inside the report, all the links have been kept. So any checks which should be done in the report already configured. Taking into consideration that all the data will be kept in one place in a database or data mart, further visualization also can be done based on the BI tool or any other things. Once you have in one database historical data and a few layers, input layer, output layer with formulas with calculated values, you can monitor how these values changed in time. What is the dynamic, and for also can use it for any forecasting purpose in the future. One more thing that I would like to highlight it, there was a question about the data quality control. As you have all the values inside one database, you can set a database data check control. For an example, what we can propose that we are able to agree with the business what can be the rule, just to, for an example, keep an eye on the daily car value, and if the value changed more than 3% or 5%, highlight it and share it with the business. This can be done for any type of the KPIs in the report, any values, such monitoring and alerts in case it's become more or bigger than it's expected to be. Our ETL jobs running on a daily basis, so we are able to integrate to any core banking system and keep the data in one place. If you have any open questions, please don't hesitate to ask.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
Question. As I see, there is manual process, automated process.
Yes.
Is there an audited trail what has been changed from the automated report to the manual report? The second question, is there a version that we see that they can change the report? So we can see version 1, version 2, version 3.
Yes, definitely. Yes, you can see this different versioning. But what about the first question? There is
Audited trail.
audit trail.
See, you can do an automated report and you can still play with the report.
Yeah, okay. I got you. I got
Can
you.
I see what has been changed?
Yes.
Is it recorded?
Elena, did you hear this question, please?
Can you please repeat once again what we need to?
Do we have an audited trail for what have changed in the reports itself?
For sure.
Okay, can you please show us that?
For sure, for every run of the report, every new generation, we will have a trail. What was the version before? All of the history will be saved and kept in, on the portal. So what was the original value and what was a new value, what has been changed? What is a new version of the report? For an example, as you can see in first generated version of the report, there was one values. In the second one, it could be another values. For an example, if today a user would like to run the report once again on the same business date, there will be appeared one more row for any audit trail purpose as well. All of this data will be available in the database in case of any analysis.
So is this sufficient for you, Mr. Ali?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Elena.
Thank you. Any other questions?
moment.
Yes, Mariam? Yes, Elena, we have one question.
So does the system generate both the Excel and Israel version of the regulatory report? Because I mean, here in Bahrain, we have two versions of each report. One is Excel submission, and the other one is through the regulatory portal, which is called Israel. So does the system generate both versions of the reports?
Well, directly from the system, we can generate Excel report, and this Excel report for sure can be transformed for any other format to be.
So maybe KFH since they
Yeah. So Elena, I'm just going to repeat Mariam's question. You're saying
now for KFH, I mean the report that you received.
Ankit. Yeah, sorry, Ankit.
Sorry to direct the question.
It's okay.
But now the report that you get both Israel and Excel versions, because you know Israel's version is a different one.
Yeah.
So do you manually populate this in the Israel version, or you can just simply generate?
At the moment, we don't get ISRA version, but the ISRA template is easily linkable to the current, because even now, whichever CBB report we submit on ISRA is linked to the final report. For say PD, the final form of 31 pages, we have a mapping of ISRA the Excel file.
Yeah, so you do a manual mapping.
So what will happen is once we download the report from this reporting tool, it will get exact same 31 pages of PD. So you don't have to relink it. It's already linked to the manual PD. We just have to change the file
So
name.
you do a manual linkage because you cannot upload the Excel version.
It's one time, it's one time job.
It's a one-time
Once you do that,
exercise.
it will next time it will automatically.
Yeah, it's only changing the file name next time. So there is no time involved in filling up the ISRA report. It's very convenient.
any other question?
And the question can be probably if CBB in future can allow reporting coming from these systems rather than user uploading ISRA in Excel again. So that will be the next step of integration.
Because honestly, the Israel version is not as user friendly as the other.
I think that's the next stage which will come eventually anyway. When all the banks are collaborating with the technology, then it will be easy for the regulator to integrate directly to the reporting tools rather than from Excel. Because even now, if regulator has reached a level where we can upload a report in Excel on ISRA, imagine few years ago, this feature was not there. We used to send the PD form and other reports so it has evolved from those days to now where we can upload in Excel. Basically, even regulator needs the data in a data bank for all the banks. So right now they are collecting because it's a common denominator for all the banks. But future will surely move away from this to the direct reporting from the bank's reporting tool to the regulator. So there's no user involvement required.
Or maybe the system can generate the Excel the Israel version rather than.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No more questions? Thank you so much, Elena, for connecting on Zoom. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much for your valuable time. It was very interesting topic, full of challenges, but alhamdulillah, we have a solution still now. So let's move forward. We have seen some interesting, we have our case study in KFH. We have an interesting Mariam from GFH. We as well there's some people interesting in Saudi Arabia. So hopefully it could be for the good. And actually this kind of events, the good thing about it, it's more about the awareness. It's how we be aware and educate ourselves, and how we gain benefits from each other, from each experience we have, because definitely KFH have different than GFH, then different than BCFC, because they are non-bank. We are a fintech, or we are on Regtech. So that's collaboration what makes success. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Picture, if everybody does not mind that, I'll remembrance and tagging you on LinkedIn if you guys don't mind that either.
I want